is in the house.
Good morning. Good morning.
Your heart. This man had been sick. I have invited him a couple of times, and he's like, I can't do it. So I called him last night, and I said, hey, are you up to it? Are you up to it today? And we are so glad that you are. Welcome back. And so this is the first time you've been out in a while.
Yeah.
God bless you. So did you have COVID or just
I don't know. It wasn't COVID. It wasn't anything they tested for. So I don't know.
Oh, my gosh.
Last thing I heard was, what was it? Lung deal.
Yeah.
Pneumonia.
Pneumonia.
Last I heard.
Man, I tell you, you've had a time, and but we're welcome back, and you're still not 100%. But he says it's the first place he went out, and I've been anxious to talk to you because as we're getting this incredible weather that we've had, and then the groundhog says we're going to have an early spring. I want to hear it officially.
He's already lied.
He's already lied. I love it. So I've been wanting to hear from the weatherman. Also, and this is something I forgot to mention to you. So if you don't want to talk about it, we'll talk about it later. The big eclipse that's coming up. We've got another total eclipse very near us. Mm-hmm. And so it's not going to be coming through here like it did with all the festivals and all that kind of thing. We had a big party at our house, which it was fascinating. I mean, it went dark for like 4 minutes. It was crazy.
Well, I hadn't paid too much attention to it like I did the first one, but there are people talking about taking pictures of it, and they've sort of gotten better at that. So
have you ever seen my son sent up a weather balloon and got some extraordinary pictures.
Yeah, they're nice.
And I mean, just amazing. I can show you. And I know I called him the other day because we're working, my mother passed. And so we're working on dealing with her estate and all the things that are there. And if you've got boxes, guys, I need boxes. I need boxes. I need help with boxes right now because we're not having a sale. We're trying to give as much away as we can because I just don't want to see my mama's stuff all laid out there for sale. And so we're trying to find homes for things. Well, we may sell a few things, just privately or something, but we're trying to box things up because there's somebody that may be moving into the house. So I'm trying to get it empty by mid-April, but I've just planned today. I thought, well, you know what? That's a good day for me to be up there. So I'm going to be right there where it's going to be totality. Yeah. I called my brother. I said, is that okay for me to come and bring some of the kids with me and us be there since we've got to be up there to load up anyway, can I be up there for the totality? Because, it's going to be on the farm again because it's going right through Paducah. And we're halfway between Mayfield and Paducah, the farm. So that's our plan. But I want to speak a little bit about that. I'm also, we used to have phone calls that we would make here. And a couple of times I tried it and it didn't work well. So I kind of abandoned that. But if we're ever going to get Congressman Mark Green on, we're going to have to do it via phone. And we found that, and that's nothing on him. We had the same thing with John Rose. We would get him on the phone once a month. And the only reason why we haven't gotten that going is because I just haven't spent the time to make sure the phone lines are working and get that established, but they're willing. We just got to get that rhythm. And so we're going to really work to start getting a monthly phone call from them, but we got to utilize these phone lines. So my friend Omar Hamada, who you said you didn't know him, he is I really don't know where he is, but he lives in the Franklin area, but he is, if you've never heard me talk to him, he's number one, Dr. Omar Hamada, and he was a Special Forces medic and went, he was out and then re-upped right after 9/11, served, some tours, and he is the doctor who tweeted something about there is never a reason for a late-term abortion, and Trump retweeted him, and so he's had some national exposure. He's on what's that Huckabee show? He's on that a lot. And I say a lot, I know at least a few times, 2 or 3 times, but, and he's been on Fox News and things like that, but he's a doctor and he works in emergency room medicine right now. He does a lot of like private medicine and things like that, but he's very musician. He's devoutly religious, just a really interesting fellow. He's Lebanese. He was born here, but his family was immigrants from Lebanon. And so he's just an interesting dude.
Very interesting.
And very, very, very interesting fellow. But anyway, we're going to try to call him at about 15 after and see if we can get a phone call through, and we're going to see how that works. That's why Bill's got the headphones on so we can all talk. But again, that's kind of what I want to unpack today.
Okay.
So while we're waiting,
hope it all works.
yeah, but there you go. But if we're going to call Omar, I told him we'd call him about 15 after, and we may not get him because, again, he's in an emergency room. If something happens, he won't be able to pick up. But he's kind of wrapping up his day. He finishes up here in just the next hour or so. So, we're hoping we can get him. Oh, and one thing, too, we were going to try to get Steve Hemphill on. That's kind of what got me started with the phone lines. Is Steve Hemphill is going to be in Franklin. I'll get the specifics on that and tell you about that. But he is our spiritual warfare guy. But he is going to be, let me see. He sent me this info. Okay, he is going to be in Franklin at tonight, 6 to 8 p.m. And it's going to be 231 Public Square. 231 Public Square in Franklin tonight. If you want to hear his spiritual warfare message, it is amazing. Love this guy. 6 to 8 p.m. Again, this is in Franklin, 231 Public Square. I can't recommend enough going and hearing what Steve has to say. He's a dear friend and just really love what he does. But Bill is in the house. I invited him to come in and talk to us. Was the groundhog right? What do you think? What are they telling us? What is the official weather service telling us in regards to, can we expect more bitter cold?
Probably not much.
Probably not much.
No.
Okay. But now snow.
Probably going to be a mild
finish
area
to
for
it?
the next few months.
Okay.
We haven't had a lot of bad stuff. We've had a lot of warm days like today. It's been unusually warm.
Yeah. So do you think we're going to have another big blast though of the cold stuff?
Oh, we could have, but overall it's going to be fairly tolerable.
Okay. But we could still. I think the thing people forget is if the rain and the cold hit just right, we could still have snow.
Oh yeah,
all the way up.
A lot of people are wanting snow, real bad. But.
Well, we already had a good snow. Yeah. We had a week out of. Nice. I mean, we had a good week out of school. Kids have had their snow days, but we could again. Depending on, it could happen. It could happen. But, we just have to, just kind of keep our eye to the roads and things. As I look at the forecast over the next week, though, I'm seeing temperatures in the 50s and 60s.
I know.
So,
Tomorrow will probably be low 60s.
I mean, there's some beautiful days. There are some absolutely beautiful days on the horizon. Now, also, too, I always remind everybody, I'm only from 2 hours north of here and not true north, even kind of northwest. And my brother was born on the first day of spring, about 56 years ago. And so on his birthday, that was one of the biggest snows I remember as a child. Now it probably wasn't that big, but it stuck around for a couple of days. Because I know when they brought him home, they had to plow the road. And that was March 20th, first day of spring. And it can happen. You can get, well, and you figure we typically, I talked to Amy over at Corbin Creek about this all the time, about when can you plant tomatoes, and typically it's tax day. But I know for at least a couple of the last few years, we've had a hard freeze post-tax day, all the way up until late April. And so you just kind of got to gauge it, and be careful about it. But what say you? You think we're ready to kiss spring now? Maybe just
not yet, but some questionable times. But most of the weather people look at El Nino, La Nina. El Nino is cooling down and quicker than expected, and so the world forecast climatologists all look at all that stuff, mm-hmm. And so. Some make some way out there predictions, and somebody did the other day just jumped up and down with me about it's going to snow, and I said no, it's going to be warm. No, it's not. Somebody on the internet said. I said, well, okay, so
sure.
it didn't, but it's just who knows? Even weather people can't tell you exactly what's going to happen. It's just overall it's going to be warmer this spring and summer.
Well, and I'm good with that. I mean, I love visiting the cold. I love going up north. I love visiting my husband's family up north and enjoying it, but I love leaving it behind.
I sent out pictures on my Facebook site called Robertson County Weather of one of the lakes, the Great Lakes. Usually has real thick ice in it right now. It doesn't have any, or very little.
Huh.
And that, that's a big indication that things are warming up.
Well, and it's so interesting because typically the Great Lakes, you can drive out on them and go fishing and do ice fishing. I put up a picture of our niece last year that one of the biggest fish I've ever seen pulled out of the ice. I mean, it's quite the sport. And, if it's a little bit mild, then that can really have a great effect on it. And so that's one thing too. Now there's portions of the Great Lakes that are going to freeze. I mean, I think Lake Superior. Which lake were you looking at? Do you remember?
I think it's Michigan I was looking at.
Okay, because that's one thing. Lake Superior, man, you can go up there in the summer and it's still got ice on it in areas.
Yeah.
I mean, not in the deep summer, but early summer. Oh yeah, we've been up there before, and it's just
I
cold.
put a little graph on my site here about a week ago of all the weather going on over the lakes up there, and it's just the ice amount is way down. I mean, just not just a little bit, but a lot.
Okay. Well, so spring's coming, y'all. I've been wanting to get because ever since, everybody has such a fit over what does the groundhog have to say? And so you're kind of, saying, yeah, we're getting close to summer. I know. I just made Amy Corbin just sing. She hates winter so bad. But, it is just that time. And this is the time of year, and we talk about that when they're on the schedule, but let's go ahead and mention that if you're somebody that's venturing into gardening for the first time, that right now is the time that you want to plant your peas and your cold weather vegetables because they are tolerable to cold, the vegetation's tolerable to the colder weather. And so this is something that you really want to, look into. Go and talk to Amy about when to plant that stuff, but we're coming up. Do you have a garden?
No, I used to, and the rabbits and all beat me to it every year.
I know. That's what kind of caused me to give it up.
I looked out one morning, and there was a kangaroo in my garden. And I said, well, he was eating away.
What? What?
There was a circus that came through one time from Clarksville. And
no way.
The kangaroo jumped out of his cage right on the road in front of the house out here. And that morning I get up, there's a kangaroo.
That's hysterical.
Thought,
only you would have. Okay, this is a story. I can't believe I thought I had heard most of your stories. I've never heard this one. That's ridiculous. But I have never in my life heard a kangaroo. And how long ago was that? That's hysterical.
A long time ago. Because you remember a man named Ray Pradines? He was
that's
a
so
sportsman's
funny.
show on Channel 4 or 5
That
or
is
somewhere.
so
He
funny.
came out and interviewed me.
That is hysterical.
At first, I had to go look up the encyclopedia. I said, well, I think it's a kangaroo, but I go look it up, and sure enough, he's out there. And so the sheriff department, which was Ted Emery at the time, got a bunch of 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, and they chased him down across the country. I never heard him more. I'm sure they probably captured him, and he's not alive anymore, but they chased him all over the place.
That is so funny. I'm going to try. I'm just cracking up. That's a good one for you. And by the way, guys, I think we're having some signal issues still.
Let me tell you a story.
Go ahead. Okay.
There was a guy that lives across the road over here where New Chapel Road is, and he called me. He said, I want to tell you something. I don't want to tell anybody else. I'd had a few drinks, and I was sitting out on the back porch, and this kangaroo shows up, and he says, I was afraid to tell anybody because they wouldn't.
Thought he was like, oh, you've been pitching it back a little too much, man. That's hysterical.
It's like a pink elephant,
That is so funny. Oh, my gosh. That is so you're just like, okay, it must be a sign.
Yeah.
I'm not gardening. I've got rabbits and kangaroos in my yard, so I'm done.
Go to Kroger's and get something nice, some nice-looking tomatoes, and
that is
the ones with holes and bite marks.
So funny. I love that story. That is the best one yet. That's the best one you've ever told me.
I got more.
That is so funny. We're gonna try to give Omar a call here, guys. So we're gonna just call in and see what happens here, and unmute. Okay, let's see here. Unmute.
Good morning.
Hey, Omar, are you with us?
I am.
Oh, Bill, can you hear?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I've got Bill Jones in here with me. He is our local historian and just an interesting fellow who I thought, well, I'll have him come in case we can't make a connection with you. But he does not know you.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Bill.
Oh, well, I've got some medical problems. Can I come see you?
Yeah, really.
Sure, come on. Let's take care of it.
What hospital are you working in right now?
Right now, I'm actually traveling. I'm down in Texas.
Oh,
wow.
Good old
okay.
state of
Wow.
Texas.
I didn't realize that. You're just all over the place, brother. My
I
goodness.
know. I need to change that. I needed to stay home more.
Yeah, I had no idea when I called you.
Must
when I
be a
texted
young
you.
guy.
Is he? Yeah, well, yeah. He says you're a young guy. Did you hear that?
No, I wish. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
feeling
yeah.
young
He's
anymore.
not as old as me, not as
Yeah.
old as you, but yeah, no. But you've had, when I was telling him who you were, I said I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't met you because you've been around here quite a lot. I met him
Yeah.
through politics,
Yeah.
and I think the first time I met you, Omar, we were co-hosting something for the Republicans. Wasn't it like at
Yeah,
Smiley
I
Hollow?
think
Remember? And
I
your mom was there.
it was TFA. I think Michael Lotfi
Okay.
asked me
Yeah.
to
TFA.
MC with you for
Yeah,
TFA.
okay. That was it then. But that was the first time I met you, and I've been intrigued by you ever since because, man, I mean, your time in the military, you're doctor of gynecology, you're a emergency room physician, you were a paratrooper, special ops medic, or what was exactly you did whenever you were serving? Because you were
Yeah, I
special
was in the
ops.
special. Yeah, I was in the special forces in the Green Berets as their flight surgeon and diving medical officer.
I mean, wow. Just thank you, brother. I say that all the time, but I'm so honored to know you because you're fascinating. You're also a theologian, a musician, a writer, an
Hey, I feel
entrepreneur.
I feel the
Yeah.
same about you.
Oh, well,
Honored to know
thank you,
you.
brother. You're awful sweet. But Bill's got a question for you.
Being a surgeon in the Green Berets, did you have to train just like the Green Berets do, go through the same training and just like they did, or they just flopped
You
you
know,
over in there?
I wanted to, and some of the guys that went through in the 60s and 70s got to do that. When I went through, they weren't letting physicians do that for various
Okay.
reasons.
Okay.
But I ended up going through, dive school, airborne school, several of the other things. But I never got to go through the Q course, which is what I really wanted to do.
Very
Well,
good.
my time, I graduated from college in the mid '60s, and Green Berets was a thing then. There was a song about it,
Yeah.
remember? And they were the elite forces then. I don't know who it was before
Yeah.
that. What they call them before that? There was some group. I forget what it was, but anyway,
Yeah.
they
Maybe
were.
like SOGS, special operation or something
Yeah,
group.
there was a name, but I can't remember what it was. But anyway, I always admired them and knew just a few people who went through that, and that was something else. I don't think I could even begin.
It's a tough calling.
Well,
Now, go ahead, Omar. Were you going to say something?
even especially at this age, I don't know that I can go through that again.
Ha ha ha. Yeah,
So, yeah.
I hear you. I think you could. You're in pretty good shape. What are you up to now? Okay, so are you business wise? What are you doing? What's your last entrepreneurial thing?
Are we live or are we just
Yeah, we're
talking?
live.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
live, sweetheart. We're live. When I call you
Okay.
in. So yes, you are live. So,
Yeah,
but I mean,
fantastic. So,
what do you want to share?
so that's a great question, because when this, as you know, the past 5 years have been personally challenging with various things happening, divorce, health issues, all that stuff. And I finally sort of made that, turn that corner. And at the beginning of the year said, this is going to be a completely different year. You remember when I sent that tweet out that got national attention, actually international attention, ended
Oh
up,
yeah.
pushing me onto Fox and Newsmax and Huckabee and all that. And I got a book deal on it and all that stuff. So this year I said, I'm going to write 2 books. I'm going to launch a new business, and so many other things. Just really pick up and start, get back in the saddle and start galloping again, make up for lost time. And then my good friend Mark Green just decided to surprise everybody and say he's not running again. So the day after that happened, my phone started blowing up, and so I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I kind of thought that might be on your horizon, but I mean, when does Mark's term end? Do you know? I mean, because
I think the beginning of next year, I think.
okay.
So
I
the
mean,
election's November. The general's in November. I think they get seated January or February. I'm not
okay,
sure.
so he has to be in the election this year? I would think it'd be
He's
next year. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the I've lost track of the terms. But
yeah.
when I
So
yeah.
it's currently now. I mean, we have to make a decision,
Mm.
and the last day to file is April 4th.
Oh
The
wow.
primary is August, and the
Yeah.
general is November.
Dog. Okay. Well, and that's something that I've known for a long time you've aspired to and would be fantastic at. So if I can help in any way, if you decide to throw your hat into the ring, brother, be sure and let me know right
I sure
away.
will.
But
Well,
you've got
I
a
was
great
aspiring to it when
resume.
I was younger.
Say
What's
again?
that?
You have a great
I
resume,
said,
so I think, you know,
thank you.
you're the kind of
Thank you.
candidate that I want. You know, that's the thing I get so frustrated
Mhm.
with. We've got people like you that have got this background that has served, and you are just you're a man of God. And I mean, I know who you are, and you're just, you know, you've got that character. And so it's like whenever I see some of the candidates that we run, and I think about why do we not have people that have, I'm one of those, I almost wish you had to be in the military to serve our country, you know, as far as
Yeah.
in politics. I'm so sick of the
Right.
the typical politician. And I would not have a problem at all with saying, you know what, don't even throw your hat in the ring if you haven't put on the uniform. You know, I just, because you don't understand it, you don't get it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you do get a completely different perspective. And
yeah,
I think, we keep wanting different, I
yeah,
think we're sick and tired of the way the government's going, the way the country's going. And we keep wanting different, yet we keep electing the same kinds of people
yep,
that tell us the same kinds of things and
yep.
expect different. It's not going to happen until, we sort of change course and get people up there who are actually going to fight.
I love it.
So,
Well, keep us posted on that. Keep us posted on that. Get back to town, you know. I know you're
yeah,
traveling all over the
exactly.
place, and so but I just I'm anxious to hear where all this goes. So I don't know, for some reason that just hadn't hit me that, oh yeah, this is now. I was thinking it was next year that it was happening.
Yeah.
So I've kind of,
See,
go ahead.
well, it's same here. I mean, when I first heard it, I was like, okay, so I've still got a year to decide.
Yeah.
And I was talking with some friends, and I was like, wait a minute. No, I don't. I've got like a month.
Wow.
Starts next year.
Yeah. Well,
January
see,
Yeah.
3rd is the
that
beginning of the term.
yeah. Well, see, that blows my mind because I was thinking when I heard it, I thought, well, yeah, so it's another year, but man, have you heard rumors about anybody else coming up? Has anybody else declared that you
Yeah,
know of?
anytime everybody starts talking
Oh,
about it and
yeah.
jumping in, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think there have just been two who formally jumped in so far, but there are still several that are considering.
Okay. Well,
So
and again, then it's a fundraising thing because I can speak from experience. You got to bring the dollars to the table because
Oh, yeah.
good land, you can't compete. I still say if I could have gotten the money together, I think the world of John Rose. He you know he's a good man. But I still say I believe I could have out messaged him if I could have pulled the money together. But that's not where God wanted me. I don't know. He
right,
opened that
exactly.
door for me to run for some reason, and I believe that the reason is exactly where I am right now because it opened the door to this radio station and all the things that I'm doing here and to teaching. I'm in the classroom, and I'm
Yeah.
exactly where I'm supposed to be. I don't have any doubt in my mind. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. My husband's in the classroom, you know, and
Wow,
so
fantastic.
yeah, he's teaching criminal justice now. His master's is in criminal justice. And so, he is teaching at Springfield High School, and then I'm teaching audio video production at Greenbrier. We're both career teachers, career and technical education
Fantastic.
teachers.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So we know that, God just, he opened that path because of that election and because of that campaign. So I'm good with that. It was an unusual
Yeah.
path to take to get there, but God does what he does. So
Yeah.
but with that said, got to raise some money, brother. Got to raise some money.
That's true. That's
So,
true. I was going to come to you, and I thought you could do all that for me.
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I'll
Just write
help.
me a check.
I'll help, but I'll help, but I don't know about that. But absolutely,
Yeah.
I give you all my support because you would be our district. This is
Are you
that
are you in
district.
7?
Uh-huh. Yes, we are.
Fantastic.
Well,
Wow, that's great.
because we have been trying to set it up with a phone call with Mark for ever since he, took over because when they redistricted,
Yeah.
we went to Mark's district, and so I've been trying to get it to where we could get some kind of an interview going with him, but he's got a place up here in Adams. So I kept saying, well, y'all need to come in the studio. And
Yeah.
and again, we had some issues with the phone lines, and I just hadn't checked them out. They obviously are working. So I said, well, we'll try to get on to some kind of a routine to where we call Congressman Green and get him on. And of course, get him to say, hey, why are you not running? And has he said anything about why, or has he just said, I'm just done? Has he given
No,
any
I
kind of,
think yeah, I think if you look at the news pieces, I mean, I spoke with him for probably 20 minutes last week when that was all happening. But if you look at the news pieces and the things that he's released, he says Washington, he says he thought he could go to Washington to fight in Washington, but now he feels like he has to fight Washington itself.
Mm.
And he wants to come home and sort of and stump for Trump for the next year. And I
Oh.
think, if Trump gets elected, I think that there's some great possibilities there for him. So
Ah, gotcha. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah. All right. Politics. Oh my goodness. God bless you, brother. I don't know, but
tell
I'm
me
all
about
for
it.
you. I'm all for you putting your hat in the ring because I know who you are and I know what you would be there. They always say that. I've had so many friends go, "Oh, I'm just so glad you didn't win election because you would have gotten up there and changed." No, I would not have. I might have, gotten
Yeah,
run
yeah,
out on the
exactly.
rails, but you won't either. And I know that. I
Right.
don't have
Yeah,
any
I won't.
doubt in my mind that you will be exactly who you are there. And you will be a voice for reason. You will be a voice for God, number one. And if we don't get back to our principles that we were founded on, there's no hope.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
and that's what
exactly.
people don't realize. Men can't fix it. Men can't fix it. Leaning into God
Right.
and what he has for us as a country can get us back on track. And until they
Yeah.
realize that, until they realize they can't fix it but he can, you know I don't know. But
Yeah.
we're talking with Omar Hamada, Dr. Omar Hamada, and we're talking with Bill Green. Bill Green is Bill Green. Jeez, oh Pete. Bill Jones.
I better go get another flag.
I'm gonna say Bill Jones is here in the house. So y'all be thinking about things you want to talk about. Bill, if you have any questions for Dr. Hamada, but we're gonna take a quick break. So if you guys can hang, are you good? Are you okay, Omar?
I am
Okay.
for another few minutes.
Okay, let me do a quick break then, and we'll come right back and reset. And if you have anything you specifically want to share, and Bill, if you have any questions for him, we'll do that, and then we'll let Dr. Hamada go because I know he's got things to do. But we do need to pause and talk about Mr. Perry's music. I messaged Katie yesterday. I've been trying to get Katie in to kind of look at my stuff and help me with colors and all that. I was like, "Hey, are y'all busy today?" She's like, "Well, we're loading in a new project and this place and that place, and then we've got, the band class starting, rock band class starting at 3:30. Mondays is always a fun time to drive by the Rock House because those kids are having fun in there. I love that they do this here locally. Mr. Perry's Music is the place. If you want your kids to embrace playing an instrument, have somebody to play with. That's been my problem my entire life. I love music. I play music. I don't play it well because I've never had anybody to play with. I start getting good at something, nobody cares. And having some people to just kind of hang out with and to play music with, that is a game changer. Mr. Perry's Music makes that happen. They have band class, rock band class. And if you want to find out more about getting your kids registered, they work on the school semester, but openings will happen where a kid maybe it doesn't work with their schedule. So get your name in the hat, www.mrperryspringfield.com, mrperryspringfield.com. Send him a message. You can take private lessons. They've got gear that they'll sell you as well. They've got all kinds of wonderful things going on, and it won't be long before we'll be into summer camp, and they'll have it set up for summer camp for you kiddos, all kinds of wonderful things. Cannot say enough about Mr. Perry. He can play anything. And your kid may be thinking, "Oh, I want to play guitar," and then get in there and see the drums, and that's their thing. Or maybe they get on keyboards. And he's been teaching me mandolin lately, and so it's just a lot of fun. Just whatever you want to play, go in there and talk to him. Set up private lessons or be a part of a band. Mr. Perry's Springfield, mrperryspringfield.com. When you reach out to him or Katie, and we'll talk about his bride, Katie, on Thursday and all that she's doing. But when you talk to him, be sure and let him know that U-Turn sent you. Okay, we're talking back with my friend, Dr. Omar Hamada. Bill Jones is in the house. Do you have anything you specifically want to cover, Omar, before we wrap up our time together this morning?
Not specifically. I just enjoy hanging out and talking to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got to just, I think you and I could sit down and have dinner, and it would take hours and hours because
Okay.
we would
So,
go
so
from one.
I just thought of something.
Yes.
A couple of weeks ago, there was a truckers convoy from the border through Dripping Springs, Texas, and I happened to be down here. One of my good friends was speaking there, Michael Yon. He's an ex-Special Forces guy as well, along with Dave Chambers, who was Special Forces down served me. And then I think Alex Jones was down here, and Sarah Palin and Ted Nugent. But it was just amazing to hear the extent of which we are getting invaded through this border. You know, the government tells us 10 million have come through. Michael and some other folks who've been down at the Darien in Panama and also at the border are saying, no, it's actually over 20 million that have come through. And they're not just, you know, migrants looking for a better life. Some are, of course, but as everyone knows, I mean, it's Hezbollah and, you know, Venezuelano warfighters and Chinese warfighters and all these, you know, drug cartels and trafficked women and kids. And I mean, it's a mess. It is a mess. And the fact that the government really won't do anything or tries to tie Ukraine funding and Israel funding to it, otherwise saying they're not going to do it, is unconscionable. I mean, it's like they just don't care about the country anymore, it seems like.
I know, and and honestly, it's one of those things that, you know, I talk a lot about. I've had to turn a lot of it off, Omar, because I can't. I only God can fix this mess. And as I look at that though, and the security risk of it all, when I talk to my students about things can happen at our school, I'm not kidding, because it greatly concerns me that they're setting us up for something, and it's going to be awful. And I'm very concerned about that. And, you know, I've got grandkids and I'm in the school system, and I think about all the risk points that we have. And I was very excited when I showed up at the school this weekend and saw a gate locked that needed to be locked a long time ago. And, you know, things like that. And so as people, I don't know, they get complacent, you know, in the security. We cannot. Because I get very concerned. Do you get that concern too? That when you see that, you know, you look at those, my heart goes out to those who are just wanting a better life.
For sure.
And there's a lot of them. I work in Mexico every year. I go down there and you know, and I experience what they're you know, seeing, and or I see what they're experiencing, and it breaks my heart that they can't have a better life. But we have to do it, and we have to do it orderly. We go in to try to help them in Mexico to make their world better, so they'll want to stay in their home. You know, that's what we try to do. And so I get it. I can't imagine if I were down with my kids and dealing with all that they're dealing with, that I wouldn't want a better life and to escape across the border as well. But what's coming with them is what we're talking about. And it's just, when you think about it, it's so scary. You know, but, so what do we do? What do you recommend? Have, you know, former special forces?
I think we have to be. I think we have to hold our government accountable and not rest until they shut it down. And I mean, I don't know what that means. I mean, you know, making noise. But the other problem is that this administration, as we all know, has also weaponized the government. And I mean, there's still J6 prisoners in jail for 3 years without trial. And, you know, whatever happened to the constitutional right for Americans to a speedy trial? I mean, they've been in jail or prison, some of them in solitary for various times during that 3-year period, where they still have not been able to face a jury. And there have been people that have actually committed suicide because of it in jail.
It's extraordinary.
So,
yeah. I don't know. Bill, do you have any comments? Or
well, you know, I used to teach martial arts, and one of the things we talked about is for women's self-defense and things. I said, now try to think of, you're the other guy, you're the bad guy. What would you do? And if you were an enemy in the United States, what would you do to come in? You want to get in the United States, what would you do? It's a simple answer. Walk right across the river like the rest of them do. And I just can't imagine our country's gotten to that point where we just let them flow, you know, just let them come in. And everybody says no, 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 but the government's still stopping it, you know, not stopping it. It's just going on and going on. And, you know, when they say 3 million, I thought, no, I don't believe that. It's more than that, you know, like you said. And we've got to start thinking differently, you know. And I can't, it's hard for me to believe that our country has gotten to where it is and people think like they do now. Bad becomes good, good becomes bad. And it's just so shocking, you know. The Bible tells us about this, but yet when you experience it, it's just beyond belief.
For sure.
Yeah.
But
Yep, exactly.
well, Dr. Hamada, I like I said, I don't want to keep you if you need to go, but I
Yeah,
appreciate you.
I got to check out.
Yeah, for sure. And we appreciate all you do, and you keep me posted on your decision. And you know that I'll be there supporting you if you decide, and you will be our representative. I'm just saying.
All right.
So you
Well,
need to come on
that
these
sounds
airways and
good.
talk to us. All right, bud.
Thank
All
you so
right.
much.
Love you.
All
I'll
right.
see you later. Be
Love you too.
safe. All right.
All
God
right.
bless you. Bye
Thanks.
bye. That's
Bye
Dr.
bye.
Omar Hamada, you guys, a dear friend and somebody that I've just been blessed to get to know. Just thank the world of him. And he, fascinating guy. Fascinating guy. And oh my goodness, you know, he and I had talked about that he would eventually, you know, possibly run. But,
Megan
you know,
Barry's running against him.
really. Well, and Omar has not said, Dr. Hamada has not said if he's going to, but I had not heard that. That's hysterical.
That's what I thought you did because I mentioned it to you
Well, you
yesterday.
mentioned it
and
to
you,
me,
You didn't
and
say anything, and I thought you don't know who I'm talking about.
Well, no, I know who you're talking about,
Okay.
but I didn't know that.
Okay.
I was thinking we had another year. I knew.
No,
you know,
it
I
takes
thought that-
office January 3rd next year,
See, I
every
was
odd year.
thinking- Yeah, well, see, for some reason I was thinking that we had another year before because time just goes so fast,
Yeah.
and I just thought that he had gotten. I don't know. For some reason, I was thinking he was newly elected and that he had another year. But no, he's like, I'm done. I'm out. And as you look at the things that are going on with, it's going to be a crazy year, brother.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not ready
It'll be
for it.
interesting.
I'm not. I have truly been checked out politically, and I don't apologize for it. I mean, I've stayed involved, but I'm leaning into God on this 100% and waiting to see what He's going to do because He can do amazing things, but only if His people will turn back to Him. And you know, we're waiting to see what happens. You know,
Right.
I don't know. Super Tuesday's coming, y'all. Super Tuesday is 2 weeks from today.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today, we will not have school. They have to, if they use the schools as polling locations, they have to shut down. So we will not have school that day. I've actually reached out to Lee Marie to see if she wants to work that day. She's a little more politically plugged in than I am right now, and so
It means a lot of TV commercials I don't want to see.
Oh my goodness! But you've got Super Tuesday, and basically, I was explaining to my students the other day what is Super Tuesday. It just means that there's a lot of primaries happening across the country, and typically, the primary is decided after Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
Usually, unless it's a super close match, I feel like it's going to be Trump. I don't know.
You know, last year,
You watched it? I don't know.
Howard Bradley and myself got on
Smoke Barnes.
Smokey Barnes trying to explain primaries.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized people don't understand. I mean, the majority of them
not.
do not understand primaries. And they can be confusing if you hadn't paid any attention to them and know what it's for and what other states do. It can be very confusing. In fact, Jim Ball himself, he kept asking questions. He said, I just don't understand that. And you'd have to step back and go back and explain. And I hope somebody does that again. I don't want to do it again. I hope somebody gets on there and does that again.
People don't realize, okay, we've got several school board members that are being primaried. And so, I mean, there's some local elections that will be on, I believe they're going to be Super Tuesday elections as well.
Probably.
Because they're, you know, and everybody, you know, they look at me because I was a part of this, you know, having to declare parties and all of those things. I don't even want to talk about it, but anyway. So,
I got on the election commission back in the late 60s, early 70s, and you could not hardly find a Republican to work in the elections. We had to use Democrats sometimes, and just one. No one even wanted. Now everybody wants to declare Republican on their ticket. You know, they are
because
putting
it's
a
such
big
a
R by
concern.
their name, and I thought, no, they're not. You know, but sort of aggravating. But things have changed a lot, and it'll probably switch back one of these times. They cycle back and forth. So
Well, and I see, if anything were to switch, I feel like more people are going to come. Because before I ran for Congress, I declared myself religious non-party because I have things that just disgust me about both. I've always voted Republican, and primarily because of the right to life. You know, protections, abortion regulations and things like that, because I'm very adamantly in opposition to abortion. And that's one of the things. The thing that drove Omar, Dr. Hamada, to national recognition is he is an amazing doctor. Just go and read his resume. He'll blow your mind. So smart. But he is an OBGYN and has delivered no telling how many babies. And he put out a tweet, there is never a reason to terminate a baby late term. You deliver them. You deliver them. Even no matter, there's no reason to do that. And it was when Trump was still in office, I believe, and because other states were doing some of these just absurd abortion laws saying that you could, terminate till the day they're born. And it's just horrifying.
I don't see how a doctor
horrifying,
does it.
Horrifying. And so it gained him national recognition. He just doesn't pull any punches. Like I don't have any doubt if Dr. Hamada were to go to Washington, he would absolutely stand toe to toe with him, and they not gonna like him. But we love him because he is just a strong character. But nonetheless, that's what took him to national attention, and that is the thing that I say, that's the hill I'll die on. And so whoever is going to do the most to protect the life of the unborn, that is who I'm going to support, and that's always been the closest I could get would be the Republican Party. So I threw my hat in and put on the Republican hat, even though I've always considered myself more of an independent, because you have to compete in a political race. You have to go one or the other. But I could see there being a rise of more independence eventually, because I think, so
Maybe another party come up.
Yeah,
and
we
before I
tried
die.
that. I don't know.
Well, there is
It's
another
interesting.
group of people. It's just not either
The
way.
Green Party, the Tea
And,
Party.
They're growing.
Yeah.
I think it seems.
But, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting year, you guys. Ooh, it's going to be interesting. But we should know pretty much who is going to be the presidential primary, who's going to be the presidential Republican candidate after Super Tuesday. We typically do at that point. I don't know how well Nikki Haley is doing, but I haven't paid a lot of attention to it till it gets here. But we shall see, y'all. We shall see. But just exercise your right to vote. Be aware of what's going on. Don't vote for a candidate just because of what's in front of their name. Vote for the candidate because of what they stand for and what they believe in. And I believe that wholeheartedly. And if Dr. Hamada throws his hat into the ring, oh, yeah, he's a good one. He'd be a good one.
Yeah.
But we're talking with Bill Green. Why do I keep doing that? I've got Mark Green on my brain. But talking with Bill Jones, and so glad he's back. He's had some illnesses and just got worried about you. My goodness,
worried too.
Pneumonia and all that kind of stuff. And we've had several that had been super sick. Jack Martin was super sick, and he got back in here last week, I guess. He came in for the first time since his illness. So
the doctors tell me we're seeing this stuff, but don't know what it is.
How weird.
Nothing works. I went through a barrage of drugs. Nothing worked.
Well, we're glad you're back. And I think, just getting back in there and getting moving, best thing in the world. But I'm glad that you decided to make your first venture out with us this morning. And I got to introduce you to Dr. Hamada too.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I think you will find. I think you will. More you look into him,
more about him.
Oh, he is a fascinating guy. But we'll see what he decides to do. That will be an interesting decision. But we do want to pause and talk about my friends Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty, our full-time sponsor, our long-time sponsor. We love them so much. They help us keep this show on the air. And we appreciate them, everything that they do. They're from right here in Cross Plains. They have been part of the Cross Plains community 28 plus years, I believe. And they want you to come and talk to them if you have any kind of real estate needs. They specialize in Roberts County properties, buy and sell, also in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. They have they've changed their name, but they're still the same great Exit team. It's just a new name. It's Exit Prime Realty. What they did is they took the office that Rebecca works with, or her office. She is an agent out of White House, and they combined with the office right here with Barry here in Springfield. He is the broker here in Springfield, has an office on Downtown Square. Combined those two, and they formed Exit Prime Realty. Same great team, just a new name. Same phone number. You can call Rebecca at 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. Anything that you might need when it comes to the real estate community, whether it's buying or selling, whatever you're looking for. If you're looking for some kind of specialized property, we had a gentleman in that was looking for something where he could do production, audio production, video production. And I told him, I said, you need to get in touch with Barry right now because he came out of a marketing background. And he was a vice president of a media marketing company for 17 years up in Nashville before he went full-time with real estate. So he had a unique perspective. So they could uniquely help him and not waste his time taking a property that's not going to work. Because of the diversity of Rebecca and Barry, they've got so much in their background that if you come to them and if they can't specifically help you as like, oh, I'm wanting to do this, this, and this, they're going to know who to call to find out where you can do this, this, and this. And so they're not going to waste your time sending you property that's not going to work for you. If you want to reach out to them today, you can go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com. Or again, you can just give Rebecca a call, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. Always please let them know that you turn sent you. And as we continue on, we are talking about real jobs. And we've had on the about trying to get too much into politics here, but you have to because Congressman Green not running again this year. Again, I thought we had another year, but nope. There's a lot of people throwing their hat into the ring, and who will it be? Who will be our presidential candidate on the conservative side, I'll say? And who will be the candidate for Congress? Oh, it'll be interesting. We'll see what happens. But what say you? Any thoughts about all we've been talking about, Bill?
Well, it's awful easy to get in disliking somebody very much or hatred, that type of thing.
Right.
Seems like something's popping up, just like the swastika on the flags yesterday we saw in a march in Nashville, the Nazis. It's easy to bring up hate, and we need to stay away from that. It's just like a disease, you don't want to get involved with it and mixed up in it. So you can get involved in politics and all this, but don't hate people. Don't dislike them. You just don't like what they stand for, but, God calls us to love everyone.
That's the thing.
And we just have to stay that and remind ourselves we can't get too engrossed, too far out in calling names. And, both sides call other people's names and they call them names, and I don't like that. I don't want to be brought down to a spot where I hate someone and want to say bad things about them. I don't want to do that. And I don't care what politics involved, but we are in hard times spiritually. We have some spiritual warfare going on we hadn't ever seen before.
Yeah.
So, it's up to us if it's going to change and to be. And about time we made a commitment.
I agree.
Toward God and toward His Word. And if you're not for Him, you're against Him, is what Jesus Christ said, So you need to take sides there and take a stand.
Amen. 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 And with the spiritual warfare point that Bill just made, remind you, Steve Hemphill, spiritual warfare, active faith, he is going to be in Franklin tonight. And we're going to get him on the phone. I was going to try to call him today, and he's tied up this morning. But he's going to be at 231 Public Square in Franklin tonight from 6 to 8. So if you want to talk about the spiritual warfare that we're facing as a country, just as a people, man, go and talk to him. And, you're talking about the swastika on the flag. I'm reading a historical novel right now about World War II. And the things that the Jewish people had, where they were kicked out of their homes and where they were, businesses confiscated and just, put in concentration camps and murdered and just the abomination of it all. And I wonder sometimes when people fly those things, do they not understand the history of it all? It baffles me. It baffles me.
The hate in their heart covers all that, and they don't need to understand. They just want to hate.
That just is heartbreaking. And then, we have controversy over the American flag. And I know the American flag it's one of those things that people go, well, but we've had, and I even had this conversation with a friend. I said, I'm a woman. We didn't get to vote until 1920. So I understand people who they think about, well, if you're somebody that's family was enslaved and you are in the black community, I understand it's hard. I understand from a Native American, it's hard. From a woman's perspective, it's hard. but I still respect that the founders were men of God. They were not perfect. They were working with, it's like we look in the Old Testament at the annihilation of different groups because they were horrible people, and it was, I heard the kinds of things, if you look at the way they would torture those who they conquered and the things that they would do that we know for a fact from archaeological, I mean, these are things that are depicted into engravings on walls and things like this, the horrific things that they did to the people who they would conquer. Those are the people that God said, you've got to just wipe them out because there's so much evil there. And so when people try to compare what America is to things like swastikas, you just don't know your history. You just don't know. And I know that there were horrible, horrible things that happened to the Native Americans, horrible, horrible things that happened to the Black community, horrible things that happened to women. But you know what? At the heart of the Declaration of Independence and the freedom to be free, you've got to look at that spirit of it and get beyond your individual. It's like I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. What am I trying to say, Bill? I'm trying to say you're comparing apples to oranges, and no, we've not been perfect, but we are still the last best hope for this world.
Well,
think about a world without America, guys.
Our example is Jesus Christ and how he walked.
Yeah.
That's our example. We're to walk like he did.
Yeah.
He didn't take vengeance on anyone. He didn't call somebody out and said, you're da-da-da, and we're going to kill you or we're going to wipe you out and all. You got to walk like he did. And no, we can't be perfect like he was, but still, he laid down. I was reading the other day in John 1:17, it says, Moses brought the law, but Jesus Christ brought the grace. We have laws, but we have to work with them with grace and love. And that's the way we should approach everyone, whoever we don't like or against or not for. We approach them with grace and love like Jesus Christ did. We know the law. We know what's wrong, what's right, because it told us in the Old Testament, 10 Commandments and all that. We know what's wrong, but you just can't go out and start beating people over the head with, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. You have to do it with grace.
Well, and I think too, if we can just rediscover empathy and just trying to really, truly put ourselves in other people's shoes. And that's why I say, when people, if you get into controversies like, I want to fly the flag. Well, I don't want to fly the flag. Well, try to put yourself in the shoes of the people who you're opposing, because the people that want to fly the flag, they probably have some skin in the game where they've had people who've served or they've served themselves. They've had to fight under that flag. They've lost loved ones that were defending the freedom that the flag represents. It's not that we're paying homage we're not worshiping the flag. We are just in the spirit of saying, I want to be good stewards of this country that God gave us. And, and I've just kind of gotten little tidbits here and there of some controversy over, we should fly the flag, we shouldn't fly the flag. And I'm just like, can't we just respect each other? Can we just respect each other and empathize and really, truly try to put ourselves in the place of those who have had to fight under that flag, who got drafted. I mean, did you get drafted or did you sign up in Vietnam?
I just signed up.
You signed up?
Yeah.
But
we're going to get drafted anyway. So.
Well, my friend Kenneth got drafted and he didn't come home. And so I will always honor the spirit of what that flag means. I don't worship that flag, but I honor the spirit of it because he was fighting and put on the uniform and lost his life because of it. And my son put on the uniform and went, and he was there. My son was in Afghanistan when they were, when Trump was going in and taking out ISIS, and that big push. He was there, and I'm going to always honor that spirit. I don't worship the flag. I honor the spirit of it, and those who have put on the uniform and defended us. Because my goodness, I don't want a world without America. I really don't. And people need to really think about that. And I just don't think they do. There's so many that have lived in an era where they've not really had to. I mean, yes, it's the 9/11 era, I know, but it's not because we don't fight a ground war like we did. It's more drones and from the air. They've not had to face the draft and all of those kinds of things. Do you think there's ever a chance that we'll go into a draft again? I really don't.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I'm dealing with students right now that are coming of age and having to register. And
We really need to watch social media right now. That's the one that's forming our minds, and
Yeah.
we got to watch out for that because with the AI, artificial
yeah.
intelligence, and all that, it's we got to be real careful how we think and how our thoughts are formed in our head because we got so much electronics, televisions, and radios and things. I was just thinking, I was making a list last night of things we don't see anymore, just like simple things like a dial tone. Things, there's
What is that?
It's changed so much
Yeah.
because of the we. I watch the old movies where they have to run and find the payphone, and we have instant communications wherever we are with cell phones.
Yeah.
We're just so different now that we have to be on guard and watch and be educated about history that people are not, they don't understand history. You need to go back and see, we've been here before. We've done these crazy things before. And where did it get us? We've got to look back and see what happened to people and what did they do. And, it's just something horrible sometimes. And we don't want to be like that. We don't want to be that way, but mob mentality a lot of times causes people to do bad things, and they wouldn't have done that by themselves.
Yeah.
But we just need to look at history, more and more. I wasn't ever interested in history growing up, but now I see. You look back to see what we did wrong.
It's so interesting that you talk about the mob mentality. Even back in biblical times, when you look at the time in Ephesus, whenever Paul went in and they were in the arena and he started teaching and they got enraged, and then it talks about how the others got enraged, but they didn't really know why.
Right,
They were just
right,
there.
right.
They
didn't know why.
that's in that story.
That happens today.
That is hysterical because all of a sudden I thought, oh my gosh, that's even in Ephesus when
You got to
Paul
learn
went
to
into
think
the arena.
for yourself and
Yeah.
not what somebody
Yeah.
tells you.
Yeah, for sure. They didn't know why they were there. They were just there. And that
I admire
happens.
people
Yeah.
that stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
They're their own thinker,
Yeah.
and they come to a conclusion that's not popular. I admire those people
I do
because
too.
they are true thinkers, and they're doing the right thing.
And with that said, we had Dr. Omar Hamada on just a minute ago, and he may be throwing his hat into the political ring for the seat Dr. Mark Green is vacating. He is one that will speak his mind and say, he is that character.
Yeah.
So I can tell you right now, I know the man, and oh my goodness, if we could get him and, with Mark, Dr. Green stepping down, let's have Dr. Hamada. Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. But thank you, Bill. Hope you get
Thank
feeling
you.
better. You get to go home and take a nap now.
Yeah.
There you go. I love it. I didn't know we were going to, possibly get a teaser with a political campaign, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So anyway, thank you guys for joining us. This is 1100 WSGI. Now, I'll tell you real quick programming note. They did not have the commissioners meeting last night because of President's Day. So the commissioners meeting will be next Monday, and we will have Mayor Billy Vogel on Tuesday next week. But we will have Ryan Martin in, city manager for Springfield, because they're having the mayor and alderman meeting tonight. So we will be hearing from Ryan tomorrow. So